On the show in Wheel Spin, we drive the new Volkswagen Vento. In Wheel Spin, we ride the Bajaj Pulsar RS200. And on the road, we drive the Volkswagen Polo to Himachal Pradesh. What I have with me today is the Volkswagen Vento, or rather the new Volkswagen Vento that you would be driving from now on. The Vento has been around for quite a while now. It was about time that Volkswagen gave it a makeover, and this is exactly what they have done. And now this new Vento has got cosmetic upgrades to the front, to the interiors as well as the rear. So let's have a look as to what really has changed in here. The Vento was launched by Volkswagen in 2010 to enter the mid-size car segment, and ever since its launch it had offered the customers a choice of a car which is well made, roomy and equipped with safety features like dual airbags. But now the Vento gets a makeover plus some additional features to make it even more attractive from a buyer's point of view. Although the body shell remains the same, and so does the dimensions in terms of length, breadth and the width, but what has changed is the front end here. And as you can see, the grille here is the major change. Now it has 3 chrome slats, it's become wider and it looks much more nicer. And the air dam too has changed with a nice chrome strip, and it has integrated fog lamps which in turn houses the indicators as well. And the bonnet too has got deeper creases here. So overall now the front end looks a little more stylish and of course a lot more wholesome. And as you walk towards the rear of the cars, you see that the alloy wheel design too has changed, and the ORVMs house the turn light indicators as well. So overall it's a nice change, but let's take a look at the back and see what's changed there. As you walk towards the end of the car, you find that the tail light cluster here too is new, and so is the rear bumper. And you'll be surprised to find that there's a liberal addition of chrome to the car. A chrome strip here, a chrome strip around here, and what I like is the exhaust tip, which also has a nice shiny chrome tip. Overall, I feel that the addition of all this chrome has given this new Vento a nice shiny look, and I'm sure this is something that's going to appeal to many buyers. Volkswagen will continue to sell this new Vento also with both the diesel and the petrol engine variants. In fact, the petrol will have 2 engine variants, the 1.2 litre and the 1.6 litre MPI, while as the diesel is powered by the 1.5 litre TDI. As far as the engines go, in spite of the different capacities, one thing that is common is all of them belt out identical amount of power, which is 103 brake horsepower. Whether it's the petrol or whether it's the diesel, and this one too churns out 103 brake horsepower and 250 Newton meters of torque. I am behind the wheels of this 1.5 TDI, and there is a difference. This one is mated to a 7-speed automatic gearbox, the DSG gearbox, which is a Volkswagen patent. And I can tell you that this is one gearbox which is absolutely the best in business in India today. I've said this before and I say it every time I drive a DSG box. There is no comparison with any other gearbox. This is one gearbox which is so smooth that you don't even feel the gears shifting. In fact, it's a sheer pleasure to drive any car with this box, and this Vento here is just no different. And another reason why I think this new Vento will really endear itself to many customers is the fact that even with this 7-speed automatic gearbox, it still returns a fuel efficiency of over 21 kilometers to a litre, according to ARI certification. And that's something that spells economy to me in capital. The Vento rides on 15-inch new design alloys, and the DSG trim has safety features like anti-lock braking system and traction control for active safety. And in this new Vento, the fuel efficiency has also been improved by about 7.5% to make it even more attractive in terms of fuel economy. The Vento had always felt very solid and well made, and with these changes, I think it has only become a much better car. When you step inside this new Vento here, you will not find too many things that have actually changed. But what you will find has changed is the color scheme here. This is a new color scheme for all the trims, and it looks quite pleasing to me. And if you do happen to open this glove box, which is actually generous in terms of capacity, you will also now find that this will keep your drinks cool. In other words, the glove box has become cool glove box, so to say. And there's another thing which is added to the practicality of the car, and that is the addition of this dead pedal here, which will, on the long run, help you relax and enjoy the drive a bit more. Another thing that has been added in addition to the dead pedal here is the cruise control, which again should help you relax on a long highway drive. But given our driving conditions and the road conditions here, that might not happen, because you don't really find an empty stretch of road to put on the cruise control for a long enough time. In the top trim, you get leather seats and leather steering wheel, plus a stereo system which is compatible with a USB drive. The interiors now look better with a new color scheme, and the best part of the Vento is that in terms of safety, it rates rather high, with even the base variant equipped with 2 airbags. And that is something the competition has failed to offer in their cars. The rear seat offers ample space for a normal-sized adult, and what you also get is air conditioning vents for the rear seats, plus an armrest for the long drive. The boot space is 494 litres, but the rear seats don't fold down, so this is exactly what you get. But another addition you get in this new Vento is the soft touch boot opening, and all you need to do is just touch it to open it. Some of you might feel that whatever changes have been made to this new Vento here are just not enough. But then keep in mind that this is only a model upgrade, not a generational change. So what has been done here is pretty much a standard industry norm. But I feel that whatever changes, however few, have only added value to the car because they are very practical in nature. The new Vento will be launched in the second half of June, and as to be expected, with every model upgrade, the price too will go up. But then you also get some extra features to justify the increase in the price.
The Indian motorcycle market has been moving a few notches up regularly, from the miserly econocommuters of yesteryears to bikes which are called sports bikes. And in some cases, if you do ignore the engine size and the performance, then you might even mistake them for a proper sports bike, like the latest from Bajaj, the Pulsar RS200. A bike that might turn your head if you like sports bike, but under the half fairing, what it hides is basically a single pot 200cc unit, which produces a rather miserly 24.5 bhp if you were to go by any sports bike standards. But I told you, go by the looks, and if you do, what you see is something you will like. Look good to feel good is the mantra everyone subscribes to these days. But does this translate into a bike which really does ride well? It's time to figure that out. If you ride hard, the Pulsar might strain, especially if you have big bike performance expectations. But keep that in check and you will find the Pulsar is a machine which loves to be revved hard, and it goes through the rev band with the ease of a practiced performer. The mid-range in particular is strong, And this is where you will get the meat of the performance. It does all this with a throaty exhaust to make it even livelier. Chances are you will love the exhaust note while you ride her hard.
Stepping up to the RS200, what's immediately apparent is the sporty and aggressive styling. It's full of streaks and cuts that give it a very aggressive look, no doubt, but don't forget that it's going to be very difficult to keep clean. Particularly parts like the front fairing with the mesh section and these cutouts over here where a lot of dust is bound to collect.
The makers of the Pulsar, Bajaj, has also done its best to make it somewhat technologically evolved. So the Pulsar now gets 3 spark plugs. Bit of an overkill, you might say, but that company says this will optimize performance and fuel economy. So when you take this Pulsar for the service, you will have to pay for 3 spark plugs instead of 1. But then, we never said riding a sports bike or riding hard comes cheap. And the answer to the inevitable "kitna deti hai" question, we got around 32 kilometers to a litre, which isn't bad for a bike positioned as a performance bike, and especially when you flirt with the rev limiter in every gear. The Pulsar RS200 is a bike which will give you the latest: monoshock rear suspension, projector headlamps, anti-lock brakes on the front, disc brakes at both ends, fuel injection, liquid cooling, and so on. And the company seriously wants to impress its potential customers with the impression that they are riding a high-end bike with high-tech specifications, and to a great extent, that's true.
A key feature of the Bajaj Pulsar RS200 is the ABS braking system. This is a single channel ABS that works on the front brake only. However, the on-road price difference between the ABS and the non-ABS version is just 10,000 rupees, and we'd say it's a worthwhile investment. Don't forget, ABS adds a lot to safety, especially while cornering on our roads where typically there tends to be sand and gravel, and even while braking in the monsoon when the roads are wet.
The Bajaj Pulsar RS200 will be sold in both ABS and non-ABS variants. The Pulsar RS200 with ABS costs Rs 1.3 lakh, with the non-ABS variant costing 1.15 lakh. But as far as the colors go, you can only have it in either yellow or red.
I've always been a fan of the Pulsar. The RS200 that I've ridden here today shows me just how far both Bajaj and the Pulsar brand have evolved in the last 15 years. However, at a little under 1.5 lakh rupees on the road for the ABS version, the Pulsar 200 RS is an expensive motorcycle. Also, it might not have the brand cachet that something like Yamaha or Honda provides to the Indian consumer. Nevertheless, for a designed in India, made in India motorcycle, this is actually a very good product.
The show last week, you'd know that I'm in Himachal Pradesh. I've been in Nahan exploring the region and its surrounding areas, and I've liked what I've seen so much that I've decided to stay on and explore some more. And of course, what's made the experience all the more pleasurable for me is being able to drive the Volkswagen Polo. And today I have the top of the line variant on my hands. This is the Polo GT TSI, and what that means is that it's powered by a turbo petrol engine which churns out 103 bhp, and for transmission it has the automatic DSG box. So I'm sure this is only going to make my trip all the more fun. I better get going. Himachal Pradesh is a state which beckons tourists with its lush green mountains and numerous places to visit, ranging from skiing courses to verdant orchards. I'm going to beat the tourist rush because I'm here after winter's over and just before the summer sets in and schools close for vacation. Consequently, I have the road to myself for the moment and can enjoy the drive. My first stop on this trip is Renuka Lake, and this lake gets its name from Lord Parshuram's mother, goddess Renuka. So with reverence they call it Sri Renuka Ji Lake. And as soon as you arrive here, it feels like you've walked into a postcard. It's just so picturesque. It's the largest lake in Himachal Pradesh, and the water runs for miles between forest-covered mountains. Everywhere you look, it's lush and green. So I'm looking forward to just taking in all this natural beauty and relaxing. Clear and cool. It's just so beautiful here. You know, this lake is fed by underground springs, so it's a perennial lake and the water is fresh, and you're going to see all these freshwater fish. And if you're lucky, you might even see a huge turtle like I did, just eagerly waiting to be fed. So there's plenty to do here. You could easily just spend the whole day relaxing and taking in the marine life and the scenery. Renuka Ji Lake is just about a 2-hour drive from Nahan, where I was. If you're heading from Delhi, it's a distance of 315 kilometers and can take around 8 hours. It's a shorter drive from Chandigarh and Dehradun, but wherever you're heading from, it's well worth the effort to come here. A mini zoo lies on the periphery of the lake, where you can see Himalayan black bears and leopards. I've had an amazing time at Renuka Lake. It's so scenic here. It's just the perfect place for a weekend getaway. But I've also heard that there are many beautiful places in the region, so I'm all set to explore some more. Before I head out, I have to tell you that the Polo is just such a great car to drive. The engine is so smooth and refined, and the automatic gearbox is just amazing. You don't feel the transitions between gears at all. And of course, in terms of features and the interiors, it has everything you could want from a nice sporty hatchback. The seats are of really good quality and they're really comfortable on this long drive. It also has a great stereo system, and I love listening to my music on these trips. And of course, the leather-wrapped steering wheel feels great to hold. It also comes with all the multifunction buttons, which are a huge convenience. So all in all, you have everything you need for an excellent trip. Let's go. As I drive up the mountains, the scenery gets more and more beautiful. I heard that there is this small temple town called Haripurdhar a few hours away from Renuka Ji with breathtaking views. So that's where I will soon make a stop. The temple isn't the only reason to come to Haripurdhar. Another very good reason are the magnificent views you get of the Himalayas. And I'm told that on a clear day, you'd even see the snow-capped peaks in the distance. It's absolutely beautiful. I could easily spend hours here just admiring the view. After a lovely drive along winding hill roads lined with blooming rhododendrons, I've reached the town of Haripurdhar. And this is a really charming little town, and its biggest attraction is the Mahogany Mandir, which is behind me. And now this temple attracts hundreds of people here each day, and it's truly one of the prettiest temples I've ever seen, perched on top of a hill. It's time I go inside. According to local folklore, Ma Bhangani is regarded as the goddess of justice, and the people of the region regard her with great reverence, making the temple the most important monument here. This has been such a fabulous trip. I am floored by everything that I've gotten to see in Himachal Pradesh. Renuka Lake was absolutely gorgeous, and then driving here to Haripurdhar was such a charming drive, and I was greeted by this magnificent temple with astounding views of the Himalayas. I have had such a good time here. And of course, driving the Polo only made my trip more fun. It's been such a pleasure to drive this smooth and comfortable car, so I'm all set to head back behind the wheel and drive to Delhi. See you next week.